everyone, welcome to my channel. This video is specifically going to be talking about craft show displays. I hope this gives you some good ideas. For my hats, you could buy at a store, pretty cheap, these styrofoam mannequins. I don't love these. I think I don't know. They're okay. They're fine. You could use these to display your hats. Some other things that I use to display them are these craft eggs. So I get these from Factory Direct Craft. And this is just the bottom of I use raffia yarn to make summer hats. I also crochet. So this is just what's on the inside, the spool of the raffia yarn. But you could use anything that's a cylinder shape. I've used short vases before, like different types of cups. It's easy to go to a thrift store and look around what they have and just something to sit your head in. I like these. They're not breakable. I like the color of them versus the white styrofoam head. I just think they look a little bit nicer. I use these. This is the big size for my adult hats. They have different sizes. This is a nice little size that I use for baby hats. So I use those. Another thing that I do is I have these balls that I got at either Joann's or Hobby Lobby. I drilled a hole in it, and then I have a stick that it goes on, and then I have this wooden display piece. So the stick, I drilled holes in this board. I got this board at Home Depot, sticks at Home Depot. It was really long. I cut it down into pieces. I drill a hole on here, and you have a little hat display. And I put this on top of, so I have my table, and then I have crates, one on each side, and then I put this on top of the crate. That way people can still reach it. In the beginning when I was doing this, I didn't realize how long my sticks were. They were too long, and I did 2 levels of crates and people couldn't reach the hats. So just keep that in mind, or if you're taller, you could help people reach them. So that's what I used to actually put my hats on. So that's my mannequin heads. I also have an actual mannequin that I put a hat on. And if I have a scarf made or a bag or a purse, I'll put that on the mannequin. So that's how I display my hats, with like what physical pieces I use to put my hats on. For the display at craft shows or farmers markets, I use tables. You can use tall plant stands. So right now I use several size tables. I get my tables, first of all, I have a very heavy table. I don't know if it was from Costco or somewhere where it's a lifetime table. It's really good quality, but honestly, it's really heavy. And so I don't like bringing it to shows. So I got another table when I needed a second one at Walmart, and it's a lot lighter and cheaper. But I've been using it for years. I've had no problems. It's never broken, no issues with it. So I highly recommend their tables. So I have a regular standard 6-foot table. And then underneath that table, they also have smaller size tables at Walmart. Now, in order for these tables to fold up, so the legs have the little button that you press in, and it's like it goes up more and more, kind of like your canopy when you put it up. I keep them on the lowest setting, and that keeps the table super low. And so I can unfold my 4-foot table, or I don't know how long it is. I have one 4-foot and one somewhere a little bit bigger. When I keep the legs at the shortest length and unfold the table, it slides right underneath my big table. So that is super helpful for multiple reasons. One, when you get busy, you don't want to be running into your bags when people are like, oh, do you have another color? Oh, do you have this? Do you have XYZ? It gives you more place for more inventory right out in the open. And I usually inch my lower table up a few inches so that way people can see it's there, and those hats sell really well. Another reason it's nice is for the past year or so, I've been using more warm colors. So I use olive, burnt orange, eggplant, black, browns, charcoal grays. But sometimes on an impulse, if I'm at a store, I see a yarn I like, I buy it. It doesn't match at all, but it was a really pretty yarn. So what I do is I make my top table all my brand colors, and it looks really nice. And then and a lot of the different color yarns I have actually from before I made my brand colors and decided to go with the warm and neutral color theme. So I still have some leftover yarn that I don't want to waste. So I make up these hats and I put all of my, my warm colors and dark neutrals up top. Then underneath, I'll put like my pinks or my blues or turquoises or color hats that really don't fit in, but there's absolutely nothing wrong with the colors, and there's plenty of shoppers who like those colors. So it's a way of organizing it where it still looks nice. You're not wasting yarn you already have. So I do a lot of times a U shape. Some people do a Z shape, or sometimes I'll just do 2 tables in an L, and then I'll put my mannequin on the other side, or like I have a little bookshelf that I use sometimes. So the other thing I forgot to mention about my tables, I use black tablecloths, and I also use table runners. So my table that I put my other table underneath, instead of using a tablecloth that will go over the front, use a regular tablecloth folded in half so it drapes over the sides and not covering the front or the back. Or I use table runners too. So I'll put a black table runner and it covers just the front half, and then my crates are usually on the back half. That's what I do with those. For my big table, I use bed risers, I don't know. I put those underneath it sometimes, and that way it makes the big table taller and it's a better tiered that way. For my brand, I use black tablecloths. Sometimes I'll use white depending on the season if I have some different items I want to put out. And then I'm going to show, this is kind of hard to see, but let me back up a little here. So this is how I bring my crates in and out. So I have my bigger crate on the outside. Let me back up a minute. For crates, I buy my crates at Joann, Hobby Lobby, and I've gotten them at different flea markets and thrift stores. For the crates, to make them easy to bring in and out, I put my biggest one on first, then I nest the next biggest size. You can see here's my second one. I nest my next biggest size in here. Then I flip them up and I put my biggest one here and my next biggest one here. I use 3 or 4 different size crates. And then I fill my heads and my bases in the middle. Sometimes when I have 2 crates, I'll put a crate and another crate, and then I'll put a piece of wood running across it, and it kind of makes a shelf, which is nice. That previous piece I showed you with the heads where you put the sticks in, that you could do a crate and run it across as well. So these are some other ones that I use. And then to kind of separate my pieces on my table, instead of having, so I use crates, wood across for shelving, and then I got blank raw wood slabs. So I got this at Hobby Lobby, and I put that on top of my black tablecloth. That way if I do have some black hats, it'll stand out. That's basically what's on my table. I also have some trays that are wood that I use. You could make, these are a crocheted version, but you could also make a machine knit version of towel ring hangers. And so I'll put my crate with the piece of wood on top of it, or another 2 bins or crates, one on top of the other, and then I'll put the stick of wood in the middle of the 2 crates and put it out to the side. And it just gives you like an arm, and you could hang over your towel hangers on it. These crates all came with raw wood, so there wasn't any finish on them. So I've seen people paint them white. You could paint them whatever color to fit your brand. For me, with my earth tones that I used, it made sense to stain them. But what I found that is way easier than regular traditional stain is these little bottles of stain gel. So where you have your acrylic paints in the craft store, if you read some of the bottles, it'll say stain gel. And then another one that I have also by the acrylic paint, it's a stain liquid and it's a concentrate. So you can, at least I think it's concentrated. What I do is, instead of painting everything down with a brush, I pour some of the stain in a water bottle. I add water, or not a regular water bottle, a spray bottle. I pour some stain in, I pour the water in, I spray everything down, and then I just take a brush and just brush off the excess, like just brush it around a little bit. And for me, that's worked well. It's quicker than doing a traditional stain, or at least for me, it was a lot less messy too. Let me go try to find that bottle so I could show you. Okay, so the 2 I have used in the past, this one is called Americana Gel Stain. So it says Maple Translucent Stain. The other one I used is Color Wash Tint. This says Color Wash Tint One-Step Water-Based Tint for natural surfaces. This one is French Roast. So ideal for wood, wicker, non-coated surfaces. Shake before use, apply with brush. Quick dry, no wipe off required. Soap and water cleanup. Apply 1 or more coats to reach desired tint. Add water to lighten color. So I do it a little differently. I take, like I said, the spray bottle, pour some in, mix in some water, spray it all down, and then just brush over it to get all the droplets off and even. So that's what I do for all my wood crates. I did it for my wood boards, these sticks that I got, and some people wrap their balls for their mannequin head with yarn. I don't do that. It does look nice. My hat covers it, and so I haven't done that. That is the display pieces I use. The other thing I've used is folding bookshelves. So the ends fold in and the shelves fold up. Those are really easy to manage. When I sell blankets, I have a little rack that I use or a blanket ladder. Sometimes in my crate, I'll put a wood board. So I'll have my crate, this on the open front, I'll put a wood board leaning down. So I'll put a picture up here so I can display the hat that way too, in case it's a little too narrow to put a whole mannequin head with a hat on top. And then mirrors, I do have a mirror that I bring. The mirror is supposedly shatterproof. So far, so good. It's never broken. A lot of people like to try things on and look in the mirror. Let me go grab what I write for my tags. For pricing on my table, I use these little signs. They open up. I just write some of my prices on it and put this near the items. I also sometimes just print out a page of all my prices. I use like craft paper that goes through the printer with black ink so it matches my brand and my style. And I'll print that out and put it. But also, since a lot of people miss it, I have these, I think these are like laundry label tags or something. I'm not sure. I'll find a link and add them. But I use a chalkboard marker, and these are actually stickers. So I would write, for example, palm beanie, $28, and I would stick this right around where my palm beanies are, whether it's on the tablecloth or a crate. I stick this right on, then people can see right away the price of the item. So I usually do a printout sheet or the little chalkboards, and then I add additional stickers around of these labels with the item and the amount. So that has worked really well for me so far. Something I use for little keychains and display items are mug trees. So I have wristlet straps that I put on here and they hang down nice. Then I found this mug tree on Amazon. I use this for my lip balm keychain holders. And so I put these on here. It goes right in there. This is easy to take in and out because it also goes upside down where I nest my crates. I can just flip this upside down and put it on the edge, and it's easy to carry out. So what I did with this, you could see it here, I did little dots of hot glue. And so this means that the keychain, I put the first one all the way back, second one here, third one here, fourth one here, and it hangs really nice. Probably would be better and look nicer if I used a tool to, instead of the glue, to like make little notches, like shave off some here, here, and here. So that way the metal part of the keychain hardware would rest in each of those and it would look nice. But that is an idea for what I use for those. My colors are the stained wood and black on my table. So I have some of these black bins, and then I found these at a local craft shop and I did the same thing. It was unfinished wood. I sprayed it all and I stained it. Last but not least of my display is I have one of these. Let's see if I can back up. These things, it opens up. So my main sellers are my hats and my beer mitts. Then I also sell some chapstick keychain holders and lanyards. It depends what time of year it is, but for most, unless it's really hot out, I'm selling hats and beer mitts. And the sign does help draw people in. The other thing I do is on my craft paper. Eventually I could invest in having things like professionally printed, but I just have a piece of paper in big block letters. It says beer mitts on it. and I stick that on my table with some tape. The tape I like best is Gorilla Tape, that's the brand, and it sticks really well, and I stick that on either my stand that I have my mitts on or the table, and it catches people's eye, and I have a lot more people stop to look at the beer mitts since I started making those. So that's about everything that I can think of with the displays. So now I'm going to talk about putting your beanies out and your items to look cohesive. I don't separate, so I either put them out by style or by color. So if I have a little bit more variety in colors available that day, I'll put them by color so it looks all coordinated and cohesive. If I only have like 5 colors that day and they're all my brand colors and everything is already looking really nice together, then I'll put them out by style. So I think this helps it to look nice. If you're a beanie seller, for your display, what I've noticed is if I have my regular acrylic beanies, or I like to use at least premium acrylic, and I mix in a few of the Spun Colors yarn or some interesting yarns to my display and put them around my table, it overall increases my sale of beanies. So I don't charge, at some shows I charge more, but for example, at the farmer's market, I mixed in a few of these hats, and I mixed my different fiber hats together. I charged all the same price, but overall my sales were very high, and I think that's because my whole table looked nice and cohesive. So it drew people in, and then they picked the hat that they liked. One of my colors that I use is burnt orange and like a marigold, and so I'll put those on top, and it helps catch people's eye. That's everything I could think of regarding the display. I'm going to do another video on craft show essentials, on what I bring to different craft shows, and I will link that below. If you have any questions, drop them in the comments. If there's any videos you would like me to make, feel free to let me know. Thanks.